You know, one time I sat with this brilliant director. I'm sitting there talking to him, and that very question came up in my head, and I just said, man, how do you know? Like, how do you know? Like, that's it, I'm done. Like, how do you know when you're done cutting a film? He said, oh, that's easy, that's simple. When they pull you off the machine. And he wasn't joking. I never know when I'm done. Never. Unless, the weirdest thing is, if there are a few marks on a piece of paper and somehow it makes sense to me, I mean, just something that I see, some representative of something in me, in it. I can look at that and go, there's nothing I can do to make that more interesting. As far as cinema, as far as, especially that, you know, you're always trying to reach another level or to push the parameters just a little bit and do something a bit different because everything's already been done. To find some confidence and belief in themselves, it's okay to try something that somebody else has never done. Never be afraid of that. Create, follow what's in your heart, your mind, your, follow your fingers, man. Sometimes a drawing, a painting, a song, a film, all those things, when you believe that you're creating them, 9.9 times out of 10, they're telling you what they want to be. A film will tell you what it wants to be. A painting will, a drawing will. Music, same thing. And never deviate from your road. So what I hope is that for something like this to continue to bring young kids from potentially, you know, unpleasant situations in life, give them some reason to wake up in the morning, some reason to be, some hope, some dream. As long as you stick to your guns, everything is going to tell you exactly what it needs to be. The first thing that I would recommend to anyone is to release yourself from self-doubt. Release yourself from fear that's been jammed into your psyche for a zillion years or whatever. You have to get to a place in your creative life where you have cared, you've cared so much for such a long period. You have to send it on its way. Don't care. Stop caring. There's a way to care by your need to express, but don't put a... Painting life is a bunch of shapes. So life is therefore a bunch of shapes. Don't be scared of shapes. Dive in, face the fear, and separate yourself from it. Let go of it, because fear is the killer of creativity. Oh, I'm scared to do this. I don't want to do. No, I'll make an ass of myself. Oh, I'll do Oh no, people won't like me. Oh man, this, that. Fuck that. I refuse to live my life with fear as my, sort of commander. No. Of course I have, you have fear of something happening to a friend or, Christ, your family or whatever. But I mean, to have fear to make a mark on a canvas, to have fear to try something that you're not established in, or to have fear of not pleasing the money people, the studios, or whatever. Not that. I don't believe that there's ever been an artist, that is to say, painters, comedians especially, writers, Baudelaire, Rimbaud, Hunter, any of them, any great author, any great songwriter, Dylan, none of it comes out of thin air. You can't create what you don't feel or know by sticking to your guns and telling and speaking, even if it's not your words, but speaking underneath of the written word. You're being true to yourself. But I can't say that most of the people that I admire in terms of creatives, run the gamut of, the great poets, the great writers, the great authors, the great painters, the great comedians, the great actors, the great whatever. It is an exorcism because of the pain that we carry from potentially birth, man, I don't know. But it is an exorcism of unnecessary pain, guilt, memories, and skewed memories especially. I think probably most of the songs or poems or books or paintings or even down to the, Beethoven, classical, I don't think that there's any of it that didn't exercise their pain in some way. It comes from pain. It also comes from need. What's that need? To recognize the pain. You need to recognize the pain. Look at the eyeball and say, okay, I understand. Bam. Blow it onto a canvas, throw it into a character, write it, type it, but whatever. I think the best art comes from pain. I will say is a deep experience, but it comes from experience. It all comes from some experience, some memory, something that has grabbed your attention at some time in your life. And that's where it comes from. And that's called the truth.